The Hyundai Staria is a big van. Yeah, let's get that out of the way so that at no point are you either fooled into or expecting it to have any SUV-like qualities. A multi-purpose vehicle or MPV, the Staria is a replacement for the StarX model line, especially here in its home market, South Korea. And it is a big improvement. I don't just mean technically, but also in terms of finish, design, and dare I say it, sex appeal. Now the Staria is a big car, and the footprint for a minivan like this, well, it's always going to be big. So it becomes even more difficult to move away from its utilitarian look, or so you would think. A lot of style that's been thrown into this car, and I think that's why it got so much international attention. It's not because of its proportions, it's not because it can seat 7 or 8 people, even 11 in some configurations in the future, but it's because of things like this little almost metallic bronze offset with the black. Look at the pattern in the wheel, really stylish, very modern, very edgy. And then the face, now that is certainly not like anything you've seen on the road before. Very clean in the front, this DRL and the little integrated parking light that runs right through the hood, and then you got the headlamps and a very stylish grille. Now the grille again can be configured many ways depending on the variant and depending on your taste. The face is bold and yes, very futuristic, but so is the rear. One of the things that's really been discussed a lot in the context of the Staria, the tail light. Now it's not just that it stacks up like that. I mean, the old StarX also kind of had something like that here in the Korean market. But these individual LEDs, they are actually individual LEDs. There are 160 of them just in this red light section, which is the brake as well as the running lights of the car. And that, I think, the tail lamp is something that really stands out. Now, interestingly, in the base version of the car, you get a regular light that's about the same size, but it just has a black mesh grille to give it the same effect, the same styling. I think that's very smart, but having the individual LEDs, very cool. The USP of this car is its size and cabin roominess. And now start thinking Kia Carnival and not Toyota Innova to get a better idea. The very latest that you can expect from Hyundai, of course, definitely in its latest MPV. And so the layout of the dash is, of course, unique to this car because of the kind of space you get. But some of the things we've seen them before, like this whole flat look for the touchscreen and the climate control system. You saw that on the Tucson for the first time. There's no gear stick, just the buttons here. Again, saw that on the Tucson. Wireless charger, this one is nice and flat, and it's very easy to put your phone in, and it does take the bigger size phones very nicely, charges them quickly too. You got a seatbelt warning for the rear passengers. I really like that because in the context of a family car like this, that safety is going to play a big role. Airbags all around and different specs, of course, that you can get. Lots of storage all around as well. In the doors, you've got huge, big spaces. You've also got a little space up here on the dash, which is interesting, and you can put some knickknacks in there, and a massive amount of space between the front two seats. This little sliding cover, what's nice is that it's got a depth to it, so you can use it as a little bit of a parcel tray. And if you want to open it, it's got 2 stages. The first stage reveals the cup holders, and then the second stage reveals the nice deep pit of storage here. That's really nicely done. The finish is really good too. Pretty impressed by that. The instrument cluster is virtual. Again, it's the same layout you've seen before, but it's housed deep into the dash because it's not one binnacle and steering cluster that you usually have in most cars. This is something unusual and different, really stands out and looks pretty nice too. And then there is the rear seating, which is also cool. An electric sliding door, of course, has to be expected, and comfort has to be expected. Lots of space, huge amount of headroom, and a nice comfortable seat. Now you have these captain seats, but they're not just individual seats. They're seats that let you manipulate your comfort quite a lot. So you've got this little lever here, which lets you move the seat from side to side. So you can actually go and get a little more shoulder room if you want to. And then you've got this one, which lets you go forward or back. Now that's the simple part. You've also got electric functions to recline the seat. All right, let me not disappear from view. And also another little button that lets you raise this section. Business class travel, that's what you get really. It's very comfortable. It's also a little more upright and a little more ample than other seats we've seen like these. So you can really relax and have a comfortable ride. Yup, limousine-like comfort, the business class experience. And you get loads of safety features, including multiple airbags, ADAS, and even seatbelt reminders for all passenger seats in every row. There's a real sense of airiness you get from this cabin. It's not just because it's a big van. Yes, of course, that's a part of it. It is actually big. But you get the feeling when you're inside that it's actually bigger than what you feel from the outside. That's always good in the context of a people mover, because when you are actually a lot of people in a car like this, the feeling of space always helps. The fact that there are also split sunroofs here just add to that feeling. Now, a couple of days ago, I was in another Staria with a British, American, and Japanese journalist. So I had the chance to drive the car with more people in it and then also sit at the back. And I think the part that surprised me was the overall sense of comfort. The ride quality, the suspension setting is very well done. You get a sense of gliding even though the car is so big and bulky otherwise. And especially on broken roads or uneven surfaces. And that is something we are gonna love in the Indian context, isn't it? The Staria gets a 3.5-litre V6 petrol engine and also has a 2.2-litre common rail diesel as option. The V6 also gets an LPG dual fuel option in some markets. The car with me is the V6 petrol, and while the motor is shared with many Hyundai and Kia products like the Santa Fe or Sorento, the tuning is most in line with the same engine on the new Kia Carnival. Like in every city, there are quirks about driving in Seoul as well. The traffic is very regimented, but it can be really heavy, and so you've got to make sure you're in the right lane, otherwise you will miss your turn off. The instructions from the navigation, therefore, are nice and detailed and very helpful.
Keep straight on this road for more than 5 kilometers.
Now, the only time the car seems to falter is when you're going uphill. You've not been able to gather a lot of speed because of traffic. You have to necessarily downshift and really hit the gas, because otherwise it hesitates a little bit. But given the size of the vehicle, that's understandable. That'll also change depending on the engine configuration that you choose. The big USP on the Staria is to sit at the rear, of course, and be driven. And that is what would appeal to potential buyers in India too. Now, cars like the Toyota Innova Crista, the Kia Carnival, even the Toyota Velfire to a certain extent have given us a good taste of how practical, dare I say, comfortable and enjoyable cars like this can be in the context of family usage, something that's becoming important more and more in India. You do find a lot of people driving themselves too. It's not just about a chauffeur. So the big question then is, something premium like this, which really sort of suits your lifestyle, fits in with a lot of your requirements, would you buy it? And how much would you buy it for? Please send me lots and lots of your actual responses on this so that we can start putting pressure on Hyundai to bring the Staria to India.